We're not paying attention to that.
Hello.
So, it's your girl, Beautiful Pain here. So I decided, like, hey, it's been a minute, so let me do another video or whatever. So keep watching. In case you didn't know, I love to read and I like books. So the latest book that I finished reading is This Fight Is Our Fight by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Super cool. So basically, just to summarize the story, basically she was just talking about how Donald Trump is trash, but we knew this. But she gave the reasons why. She also talked about how Republicans and Democrats always get along. Duh. But some more the more interesting things that were in there was when she talked about like how poor for-profit schools are really scamming people. I see DC College, yeah, scamming. And also other things like minimum wage issues. And she also talked about how she people said she was going to run for president and why she chose not to. So I'm not going to spoil it in case you want to read it. One of the things I found interesting in the book was how like there were some real actual stories in there, and I also liked how she came at Trump with direct things like how he paid for apparently the to reelect the Florida Attorney General. And the money that he used came from his charitable fund and all these other interesting things. So I thought it was a really great book. But I had a few little issues with it. Let's talk. Biggest issue with this book and with white liberals in general is like they can be for the women's march, they can be for immigration, cool, but why do they have such a hard thing with saying Black Lives Matter and like forcing on that? Like she talked a lot in her book about the women's march, but did you go to any Black Lives Matter marches though? Were you there? No, you weren't there, but you're gonna say that Black Lives Matter, you're gonna say all these other things to get Black people's votes. And my whole thing is like, unless you was Bernie Sanders, I'm not really seeing you doing anything with the people. So that kind of blew me because I really like Senator Warren, but I ain't seen too many things about her talking about specifically Black Lives Matter and her being involved in those protests, but she would be involved for Hillary Clinton stuff. And she would be involved for the Women's March. I was at the Women's March in DC. Cool. I'm just saying. Like a few things I really meant two things. So I would say more solutions. I'm just a person, I hate when people complain without giving really feasible solutions. And while she did definitely provide solutions, like some of the things she suggested at the end of the book was like, you know, like resist or even run for office, get out and vote in 2018, things like that. Great, I'm totally for that, but what are some other things that we can be doing? Like, you could have been a little bit more practical in the book, talking about like right legislators, yada yada yada, things like that, which I feel like is an undertone, but I feel like your average person isn't really going to even be thinking about that. But maybe your average person isn't reading this book, but you know, it's just my personal critique about what I think, you know, should have happened for conclusion wise. I just needed more like more what's it called, more solutions. And I just feel like at the end it kind of had an abrupt end, and it was just like, yeah, so this is what you should do, and this is it, these are just the three things, the end. No, I just had to bring those two things. But overall, I think this was a really great book. I definitely suggest like a lot of people to read it. um, if I offended anybody by saying white liberals or whatever, I did not mean to generalize. I know there are different types of liberals, different races that do not feel that way. By no means I mean that to be a generalized statement. It's just something that I noticed as a trend and some things that I've seen in the book and just in real life. You know, just practice what you preach kind of thing. But I basically really did like the book. It gave a lot of great insight to the economy and different presidencies and how they handle different things. and how basically we're just running backwards, and it just makes no sense. We need minimum wage that people can live off of. Like, I have a degree, I'm getting another degree. It doesn't mean that the person flipping burgers doesn't deserve to have a livable wage. That means nothing. Like, what? You know, or like the tax cuts that are happening for the rich. Like, why? We've seen trickle down economics multiple times and they've never worked. So why are we still even trying to do those things? Have no idea. But um, yeah, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the book if you're a bookworm like me. So just go and get the book. I got mine from Busboys and Poets when I used to work there. If you like this video, and if you like my other videos, hit the subscribe button, hit a like button, and comment below what are some of your favorite books? Because I love to read, and maybe some of my other friends that watch the video or you other people would like to read too. So that's all. Until next time.